Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Ankush here from Alif Consulting. Welcome in our Azure Cloud Adoption Framework case study. In this case study, we will be going to talk about how a cloud adoption framework help customer to define their hybrid strategy and run their workloads on the Azure cloud and help them to do the innovation optimization or modernization on their applications, right? So in this specific video, we're going to have a customer introduction. We're going to have a challenges which customer was having. We're going to understand what are their requirement was, what are the solution or how their solution looks like, how the landing zone looks like, and how their design solution looks like, which is specifically on Azure VMware. And then what are the outcome, what are the automations, how they have implemented the automations across the board for everything, right? So this is what we are going to talk in this case study. So let's quickly jump into the customer introduction. So this customer is basically a pharmaceutical customer. This customer is always pushing their boundaries of medicine with a mission to deliver the life-saving medicine treatment and vaccination to people anywhere. This customer relies on edge, cutting edge science and manufacturing to make the impossible to possible for millions of people around the world. So this customer is basically a pharmaceutical. They are basically creating the vaccinations. They are creating or developing the mission. I would say critical medicines, life-saving medicines, treatment, vaccination across the across the uh, globe, right? So at the same time, they're also using the cutting edge science and, and manufacturing to make it possible for millions of people around the world. Now, with with this one, with these kind of things, what they happen, they face the limitation of its on-premise infrastructure, right? They were not able to extend it. They were not able to take the advantage of photo scaling. They're not able to do the innovation optimizations. They're not able to launch the new or not able to do the research in optimized way in a less time. The all research always take a lot more time because they need to provision a new resources for a new research, and that's required a procurement setup, hardware purchasing, setting up and doing the things. So that's where it's taking a lot of time. So what customer did, customer adopted a hybrid cloud strategy and chose the Microsoft Azure as its cloud platform, gaining the speed, agility, and reliability necessary for the innovation. So with this one, what customer get, right? As soon as they started or use the hybrid cloud strategy, they have their infrastructure running on a production for production and on-premise. At the same time, they have Azure to run their researches, run their certain applications, do the innovations, take the scalabilities, right? Take the advantage of cloud scalability, modernization, innovation kind of things. They have started doing it by choosing the Azure cloud with hybrid cloud strategy. Challenges, right? So as I told you, right, they are running their data center on premise. With this one, they are having a very limitations to do the innovation. With this one, they do have a few more challenges, right? Higher time to provision the servers or the infrastructure, because when you're running on on-premise, you need to procure the hardware, you need to procure the softwares, right? And then you need to purchase the you need to raise the purchase order, right? That kind of business or financial stuff you need to do, right? That's required a lot of time. No flexibility to do a scale up and scale down for the infrastructure as per the requirement. It's not a scale up scale down in within the specific application. It's overall the infrastructure. So let's take an example. Today customer was doing a research on a specific medical or medicine formula, right? That's require a lot of compute to process that. With running the data center or running the infrastructure on premise, they don't have that kind of capability where they immediately or I would say within a 1 day or 2 day they can scale up the environment as per the requirement, right? Within the cloud, that's something you can do very easily. No innovation with current setup because they are running all their servers application on-premise, so they just have a traditional way of running the application, either running it on a physical server or they're running on a virtualized environment. So slow performance with the on-premise servers, yes, that's the one of the limits. So how it's a challenge. So let's take an example. Customer have a Intel Gen processor with 4 core a 4 core, right? But the application which is there, that's required a more power and more processor. But at the end, they don't have that kind of resources available on the on-premise data center. So what they need to do, they need to basically go ahead and buy a new server for that. in a, at the same time, in Azure you have a lot more option to do the or get the higher performance for your application and the infrastructure. Cost is too high with the on-premise servers, right? You need to do the lifecycle management, you need to do the upgrade of your hardware, right? That's where your cost is too high for operational maintenance and everything. All the costs are too high. Higher downtime to fix the mission critical application. So this is a very one of the driver where customer have gone through with the hybrid cloud adoption. Because let's take an example. If there any hardware issue happen, or anything goes wrong with the server, like the memory memory burnout, right? Or hardware issues, SSD is got damaged, motherboard is got uh, damaged because of the higher voltage, right? So that kind of thing can happen in on-premise data center, and that's where higher downtime, it's always required a higher downtime to fix these kind of things. Because that's where you need to log a call with your support hardware provider, and then hardware provider is going to send the person, he's going to analyze the stuff, and then accordingly he's going to raise the request for the product and for new parts, and then he's going to install all of those things. So that's where it's take a lot of time to make the application up and running for on the on-premise data center. Now, what are the requirements customer was having? Minimize the time of provisioning a new infrastructure or the application, ability to scale up and scale down of the server as per the business and application requirement, minimize the current spend of IT infrastructure, proper cloud adoption and the best practices to be in place as per the industry standards, reduce the downtime for mission critical workload, and maximize the use of automation. And with this one, what customer did, customer have chosen the Azure cloud with Azure landing zone and Azure VMware solution. So as a pharmaceutical company, customer must follow the compliances, customer must have a cyber security, customer must have a quality control requirement, right? To to uphold these requirement, customer has keep their data and application on premise, but on premise infrastructure costly and can suffer for the slower performance. Outages are the another potential disadvantage to the physical server, showing the ability to launch product in a timely fashion. So compliances, security, quality controls requirement are something there which keeps customer data and application on on-premise, which restrict customer to go on the on-premise and keep their data and application running on the on-premise. But when you're running the infrastructure on on-premise, there's a certain disadvantage like cost, slow performance, outage, right? Uh, there is the slow ability of launching a new product, right? uh, right, so that's where it can create a problem. So to deliver on this mission of transforming the practice of medicines, customer need a way to work faster and more efficiently while maintaining the clients and requirement. And that's where a hybrid cloud strategy come in a picture, which would allow customer to benefit from the cloud specific advantage like speed, agility, scalability, while retaining the on-premise control. After reviewing the several options, customer have chosen the Azure as a strategic cloud platform with 70% of customer network already on the Microsoft Windows Server, right? This was a easy choice. So customer have basically chosen the Azure cloud for their strategic cloud platform. And the biggest reason for this is to because their 70% workload was running on the Windows Server, right? And when you're running the Windows Server, it's always a best choice to go with the Microsoft, because then you're getting the end-to-end support across the board, right? You can get the operating system level of support, you can get the the integration level of support. You can get the hardware level of sorry, you can get the host level of the support. You can get the VM level of support. So that's where easy choice for the customer to go with the Azure cloud only, right? To migrate to the Azure, customer have started migrating to the Azure, and that's helped customer to reduce the cost and given them option to explore open source technology approaching with the Linux support. So as they have running their 70% workload on the Windows, right, on the on-premise, when they start migrating on Azure, they have start migrating onto the Azure cloud. What they did, they have started seeing the cost reductions, right, and they have also they are also adopting or they are also exploring the option to run their application on the open source like the Linux support like a CentOS, right, or Red Hat if they want to go with the enterprise level of support, right? So that's kind of options they are basically now exploring as they have moved on to the Azure cloud. Now this is how the landing zone has been designed. So it's similar to the what Microsoft recommendation is. We are having the identity and access management. We were having the enterprise enrollment number where customer were having the their EA portal, right? They were having the on-premise Active Directory. That Active Directory has been extended to the Azure because they were having a 70% workload running on the Windows machine, and that's where the Active Directory is always required for doing the centralized management of identity. At the same time, this Active Directory has been directly replicated to the Azure AD using the Azure AD Connect, and that's where the access and identity management has been set up, right? So access and access management like MFA, access review, audit reports, right, kind of thing has been integrated with the customer. At the same time, customer was having their different resource groups, right? They were having the landing zone subscription where they were having the certain resources like key vaults, recovery vault, shared services, and then they were having the connectivity resource group where they have deployed their hub and spoke topology, and they were using the express route to connect with the on-premise, right? And then they have a separate resource group where they were having the all the dashboards, right? All the monitorings, policies, network watcher, cloud defender for cloud was enabled for the customer, and that's where all the log analytic workspace dashboards were stored. So that's how their whole landing zone was designed. Now, if you go to the actual architecture, that's how their VMware, which is running on the Azure, is basically getting connected with the on-premise. So they have a VMware solution running on the different network, and then they have other landing zone stuffs running on the different network. Now, when you're running your VMware solution on Azure, you cannot connect them. Cannot connect your VMware solution to your Azure virtual network using the backbone network, and that's where you need to use express route. So express route has was there uh, to to connect with the VMware solution and providing the one-to-one connection between the Azure VMware private cloud to the Azure resources, and from there they has been extended. All of this connection was extended to the on-premise by using the express route as well. And then anything need to be configured on the application gateway or any other services, they basically can use the express route directly to connect all the VMs running on the VMware solution private cloud. Now, what are the outcome, right? So, uh, this is a kind of large scale migration. It's not a smaller feat. To help to ensure this smooth migration, customer work with us as a Microsoft partner network member, specializing in cloud infrastructure and network automation and digital transformation and data protection. Customer and us settle on a digital transformation plan including the migration over the 5000 server and 2000 apps over the next few years, and choose the Azure migration as and Azure VMware solutions to move to the to move the workload. Despite of being early in this migration journey, customer have seen majority of benefits thanks to the global appearance of the Azure, since Azure is available across the cloud across the globe, and they have a multiple data center across the multiple regions, right? So now that's give us the benefit because they can locally create a server where in whichever region they need it, right? Customer is now able to set up a new region in a record time at the friction of cost, With help from the Microsoft and us, customers were able to deliver a fully qualified landing zone in Azure on a one-third time, and at the one-third time of the budget compared to the previous cloud effort. Customer is also experiencing few outage and faster recovery time, reducing their main time recovery by 300 to 500%. Overall, these improvements allow customer to manufacture and deliver the high quality medicine without the interruption. So, like as I told you, right? So as soon as customer have created their landing zone and start using the Azure VMware solution, as soon as they started migrating or using that VMware solution for their new environment or existing environment, what they see the cost reductions, right? Definitely there is a cost reduction is going to be happen, because when you're running your infrastructure on Azure VMware solution, it's always going to be pay as you go. But when you're running it on the on-premise, you always need to do the upfront investment. So that's where they are seeing the cost difference. They are seeing majority of benefits, like they have a global presence now. They can create the resources anywhere across the globe based on the Microsoft region availability. Are uh, they have a capability to deploy Azure landing zone with a very minimum time, because that's where we customer and we have created the Terraform Azure DevOps pipelines to build the landing zone. We have a standardized templates created with the customer requirement to build the landing zone, right? And then they are basically saving a lot more budget or lot more cost, because they don't need to invest the upfront cost, right? Now, with cloud adoption framework, right? So since a customer have migrated it on Azure, right? As I told you, they were using the Terraform templates. They were using the Azure DevOps to build and create the landing zone into the any other region they needed. They are using the infrastructure as a code, where they to deploy the resources like application gateway, VMs, right? So customer can automatically deploy a new infrastructure region using the baseline template with the necessary requirement automatically added on. That's where they are using the Azure Blueprint, one of the thing which is currently in preview. However, you still can use to build the infrastructure with Azure. Customer tie everything together in a single pane of glass: business requirement, compliance, infrastructure, and everything, right? For speeding up the app development through template to reduce the error, customer is using the Azure automation to work faster and more efficiently. Developers are empowered to build a new app quickly using the templates, as well as tear down and rebuild outage prone application within the minimum efforts. Azure give customer the customer Azure gives the customer the ability to easily scale up and down the workload as needed in the dynamic way. With Azure hybrid cloud offering, customer employees can work faster and more efficiently, which means a faster time to market for bringing a life-saving medicine to the patient. Digital transformation at the customer is driving a more agile business and faster time to market, to manufacture and deliver the medicine. So as soon as they have started using the automation, right? They have started using the automation to build the infrastructure. They have started using the automation to create the application. They have started using they have started using the automation to tear down, rebuild. Because everywhere they have started using the automation, and that's where they are saving the time. Their developer are ready to do more work. Their developer are ready to work on new ideas. Their developers are working on the innovation part as well. Well, that's it in this video. I hope you like this video. If you like, please click on like and subscribe for more upcoming videos, and feel free to reach us if you have any questions. Thank you.